Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode, another podcast of Eyes Wide Open. I'm your host, Donna Schmid, with my wonderful, beautiful co-host, Phyllis Tempest. And we are going to be continuing our quest to assist everyone in keeping your eyes open. And what
Yes.
that means, to have conscious awareness and how you do it and how you maneuver through it. So kind of piggybacking on our last episode, we were really diving in and attempting to explain what it was like to keep your eyes open, to be consciously aware, and applying it really in your everyday life, not just, kind of spiritually, because they're all interconnected. We are here for a reason. And I think that really gets separated, or has been separated in the past, that your spiritual quest was like separate from your human quest, and it's really not. It's all together. So there's a lot of great teachers out there, spiritual teachers out there, that have really great workshops and books and podcasts that kind of explain in detail more so, what it is to be spiritually active. But I have not actually seen anything, because that was a big one for me, is how do I incorporate this into my life? I felt really shifted and changed. And was I going to be two people, the human people of me and then the spiritual people of me. So, and I recognize sometimes it wasn't just me, because as I was in group settings, in fact, when I did my vision quest, and we were we called it the lodge, but it was the giant teepee where everyone was in, and there's probably about a good 20 people in there. And several people were sharing how their biggest concern in leaving, they had this incredible experience, a spiritual experience, and it had really opened up things within them that they were really excited about, and they wanted to move forward into it. But how do they bring their partner along? How do they let their family know? And it was like, oh yeah, because they're not always on board. And I know when we were going through the virus episode, and also I'll call it the Trump episode, or the Orange Man episode, when you voiced your opinion or your perception of either one of those things, there was always an opposing side that would get really hostile to some degree. And so there was this banging head. So people, that happens when you choose something like that, and then you're trying to explain it. And it's hard to explain because it's really an experiential piece of what's going on. So today we're going to kind of go back in a little bit, and I want to share, expand on it a little bit more about how we can incorporate that into our lives by giving you really everyday things that people can be aware of. So Phyllis had telephoned me after our last podcast and had asked me, where do we go from here? What do you want to talk about the next show? And it's always that, I don't know. Because we really don't have anything planned out. It just happens. And so I was blank, she was blank. And so it's like, I wasn't worried, because I thought, Spirit will shove something in there. They'll let me know. Well, within, what was it? Just a couple of hours, it was there. And so it was like, I texted her, I knew what we were going to talk about. So, but it's so fascinating how they just, share things with me. So I'm in the kitchen, and I'm making I'm preparing kind of dinner, just chopping, doing all kinds of stuff. And I usually watch, YouTube video while I'm doing that, or listen to music or whatever. So in through my feed comes this podcast about catfishing. And it's like, this is interesting. So I'm watching this podcast and seeing how people can be so closed that they get involved in this, and before you know it, they have given away sometimes all of their life savings. I even saw things where people sold their homes, and all for years. We're not talking like, a short time experience. This is years of going through this, 4 years, 7 years. And it's like they never meet these people. They're in love, they're going to get married, but always something always happens. I'm like, whoa. So from the outside looking in, it was this, oh, you cannot be that lame. Okay. I mean, really, how many red flags do you need to see? But then when I looked at the person that was being catfished in their shoes, and I thought, really their situation, their story, either they had a spouse or a partner that had passed away, or they were lonely. They were really just looking for companionship, for love, for camaraderie. And so here comes this person that begins to share that and tells them how important they are. So it's like, wow, and really what I recognized is it's grooming. So we can groom to catfish them. We can groom them for child molestation. We can groom them for, labor trafficking, for sex trafficking. We can groom them to accept how we are wanting to change from electric or change to electric cars, or groom them to be fearful of everything. It is this grooming process that begins. So it's very slow, it's methodical to a certain degree, and then it's catfished. You get this hook, and then you're hooked, because it's like a tunnel vision. You just don't see everything. And when this particular podcast, when these people do this, help people, in showing that this is not this is not what they perceived it to be. And I'm using that word because this is all part of it. And they're like, oh no, that can't be. I mean, they're shocked that it can't happen. And it reminded me of my first marriage, when I discovered that my husband was cheating on me. There's just no way that man would do that to me. I mean, we're in love. We have this wonderful relationship. And I was shocked. And then after the shock, it was this, like, I can't hide it anymore. It's right in front of my face. Then it's anger, so it goes from this shock, disbelief, this anger. And then, I think what comes after that, sadness, but you go through these emotional pieces.
It's a grieving process.
Yes. And then you grieve the loss of that. So I can understand how these people are so vulnerable. The same with children. They're vulnerable. They're open. They're, and for myself, I kind of did a life review, if you will, after this, thinking about it. But I recognized that in my quest for more spiritual development, because it was like an elixir, as you get the first little taste, and it's like, oh, I want more. And so what else can I do? What else can I learn? And so then you gravitate towards all these quote unquote teachers and these gurus who you think are going to show you and mentor you. And all of a sudden, it's like, because you're craving something and they recognize that crave, they begin the manipulation process, the grooming process. And before you know it, I have spent thousands of dollars, because it's like, and I lamented about it, thinking, okay, this class, this thing is going to cost me $1,100. Well, you got to think about it as, rationalize it. You got to think about it as it's part of your education. You're going to learn something, you're going to be using it, and so you go ahead and do it. And then you get in and you're hooked for more. And then it's not just this. It's like, oh, you got to go to the next level, and this next level, you're going to learn this, and then we're going to teach you this, and before you know it, you're going to be just like us. You're going to have this business. You're going to be helping these people, and it's like they feed on that, and before you know it, I'm sucked in. I'm sucked in. And it took a while to figure that out. And then, I was really angry at myself for recognizing that. But I understand now. So this is why Eyes Wide Open is so important to me, because this is part of my life's work, because I also have gone through this. And I know, and sharing this with you, Phyllis, you shared some stuff with me. So, share it with the viewers as well too. Unfortunately, this happens because even in deciding how much to charge,
Yes.
and I went this through, I even went through this with my massage practice, because, I didn't want to exclude people and only take in, talk about diversity here. I didn't want just
Yes.
people that could afford me. But I also didn't want people that, really needed the help, really needed the assistance, that they couldn't afford it and they couldn't come to me. So I had to
Right.
balance that out. And by balancing it out for me, what I felt worked for me, and this is for those entrepreneurs out there, is that I would have so many, like maybe, and I'd have to decide this, of course, financially, if I would have 5 clients each month that I could take in to assist them on a lower scale that they could afford. And then once they were completed, then they could go and I could have another one come in like that. And I would let them go and let them know that that's why I was letting them go, because what they came for was complete, and I gave them tools and ideas on how to continue, but I had to open that door for somebody else to come in.
Right.
Keep that energy flowing like this. It was a balance. So what irritates me is when I look at things and I go, oh, that sounds really good. I would love to have Akashic records, I'd like to understand that a little bit more. I have a reading on that. And the cost is like $1,500. It's like,
Yeah.
that's a turnoff. It's a complete turn. So it's like,
Yes.
I just, I can't fathom that anymore. I understand if you've been around for a while and, or try and get a psychic reading with somebody and you have to wait to the year 2024.
Yes.
It saddens me in a lot of ways. It saddens me because there's plenty of people out there that are just as good, and are not astronomical. So,
Right.
what's your experience been like?
This is true. There have been many times that I've wanted to reach out for help, and maybe I've seen somebody or I've listened to them for quite a while, and I really needed the help, or I thought I needed the outside help, but sometimes you get to the point where you're so wrapped up in your own stuff and you just go over and over and over and over again, and you need a different perspective. You need someone to talk to. And when I would look to see the price, oh my goodness, I was definitely not in a position to pay $1,000 or $1,500. And I didn't understand. When I started the Healing Center in Kentucky in 95, that was the biggest problem that I had, is what to charge. Because I was so excited and was so passionate about what I was doing. I really didn't want to charge anything. I just wanted to help everybody, but I know that don't work. There's got to be an exchange of energy somewhat. So I went for a long time just in agony. What do I charge? What do I charge? And then my mentor that taught me a lot of what I have done through the years. He told me, he said, don't look at it as a charge that you're charging somebody. Look at it as a gift that you're receiving. Because I also had a hard time receiving any kind of compensation over and above, you know, what I asked for. Because sometimes, you know, people would give me extra. And he said, you know how you feel when you give from the love of your heart. And I said, yes. He said, then what makes you think that you are above allowing that other person to have that same feeling when they give to you? And that really put a different perspective on it. But I also know that through the years, it's been many years, the classes that I have taken, so many times I'd kick myself because once I got there, it number one, it wasn't what I thought it was. I remember taking a class, and I'm just gonna say it. I took a class one time from Carolyn Meese, and it was during an election year, and I don't even remember which election. I don't remember. And I paid a lot of money and had to come to Indianapolis to do it. Okay. So I had to travel a ways. And when we got there, class started, and she started on ranting about the president to be. Ooh. And this one, you know, against this one. And for the first, until lunchtime, that's all we heard was her anger and her emotions. And I'm like, what did I pay the money for? So at lunch, we sat sort of close to her people that put this on. And I spoke loud enough to let them know that I was not happy that I did not pay the money to come and listen to political stuff. And she was teaching about, I don't know, but to me it was important. I really wanted this class. And since then, I have never read a book of hers. I have never listened to her. I don't want anything to do with her. So that also comes with when you know, you were talking about how you felt whenever you woke up and you felt so so awful about what was allowed to happen, and then you don't want anything at all to do with them anymore, ever.
Yeah.
And look at the people that was there. I mean, I wasn't the only one upset. I mean, the whole crowd was upset. And I thought, look at the seeds that she has planted. She hasn't. She planted seeds, but it was definitely a bad taste in everybody's mouth. Look at the people she could have helped. And because of this, she didn't, you know, because we, you know, no more. So there are, like you said, there are absolutely fantastic teachers out there. But how do we know? How do we know? Because we are looking so much for something. Show me how to do this. I want to learn how to do that. I need to learn how to do that. I need to find somebody to teach me how to do that. Well, there's nothing wrong with that at all, because there are foundations that, you know, some know. That's why we're all together. Some know and some don't, and you share, and it helps in our growth. But it's important to discern that one thing is the most important, even in your day-to-day life, even you're in, you know, how you live day to day. When you hear something, how does it feel in your gut? How does it feel? It's like when you walk into a room and all of a sudden you get this weird feeling or this sick feeling in your stomach, or something just doesn't sit right, doesn't feel right. That's your discernment starting in. That is how you discern. And then you ask, okay, what is it? Because if you're feeling fine before you walk into the room, you know it's not you. You know there's something there that is telling you, okay, you need to pay attention to this. But there are those, and it's sad to say, Donna, it breaks my heart that there are those that are, they jump on what we call the bandwagon, um, and thinking, oh, I'll go this new age route and I'll make a lot of money. And they prey on people that are really truly looking for help and for assistance.
Mhm.
And that breaks my heart.
Mhm.
I mean, and what really breaks my heart is to come across people that, I am blessed to teach that have been treated that way.
Mhm.
It just,
Yeah.
and there are those that are, they call it in it for the money. And what is really, really dangerous in my eyes is, okay, if they're in it for the money, then what kind of information are they giving?
Mhm.
And the information it can even do harm sometimes,
Mhm. Yeah.
because 9 times out of 10, they really don't know what they're talking about.
Right. Yeah.
And I have had some that it's either this way or it's no way.
Mhm.
You have to do it this way, and there is no deviation.
Mhm.
Um, there is a gentleman in Texas that has created a polarity therapy class, and you better not do it any other way than how he knows that it works. And that's not true. There's all different kinds of paths to lead to the very same thing. It's like we were talking, and I said I got in trouble in school because I failed a test because um, I was being taught long division, and I couldn't understand why I had to go long to get the answer. I mean, to me, it was just silly. And so I didn't show the work, and she failed me
Mhm.
on that test. And so it's like, but I got the same answer. So there are many different ways to get to the same result, but you've got to be careful because some of those ways may take you down a path you don't really want to go.
Mhm.
You definitely have to exercise that discernment.
Mhm.
How do you feel about it? Ask somebody that you trust. Explain to them, tell them what's going on, and just let them give you their feedback.
Mhm.
Um, you know, our relationships in this day and time, especially when so many people are coming out. We talk about disclosure from the things that have been hidden. Okay, the political, the children and all. It's been going on all this time,
Mhm.
um, and but it's coming out. It's coming to the forefront. Well, disclosure. Um, it also goes into the spiritual realm, and um, there's a lot of sad to say, there's a lot of people out there that don't have your best interest at heart. And if you really pay attention, then you'll be shown. There will be that disclosure. Uh, there have been so many people, Donna, that I have followed,
Mhm.
and I really, really love them. I love their books. I mean, it was great. And all of a sudden, their true self came out.
Hmm.
And I'm like, oh, whoa. I used to listen to this one, and I mean, I met him in person. He's a channel, and uh, I followed, I took classes and all of this. And then when the Trump incident came to be, then he got on YouTube and he was like, oh man, he just lambasted him and how he was horrible and all of this. And I'm thinking, how can you channel with a pure heart when you feel this way? I don't trust what's coming through. I don't trust that you will impact the message. So I've never listened to him again.
Mhm. Yeah. I think in that experience, I think about you actually growing spiritually, and because it just sounds to me like you got to a point where you were trusting more yourself, your own guidance, your own inner guidance, and that just wasn't resonating for you anymore. So it got you to that point where you could say, okay, I don't need that anymore. That just
Yes.
it just doesn't go to me anymore. Yeah. It reminds me sometimes, shows that I used to like to watch as a kid, or
Yes.
not a kid, but a young adult, younger than
Mhm.
I am now. How's that? And I used to think, oh, that's such a great show. I just couldn't wait. Oh, like the Cosby Show, or
Yeah.
what was the other one? Roseanne, or Everybody
Yes.
Loves Raymond. And then all of a
Yes.
sudden, it's like I go back and I go, oh, that it's back on again, and it's like
Uh-huh.
I don't like it.
Uh-uh.
Didn't like how Raymond was treating his wife.
Yeah.
I mean, it was,
Yeah.
and then that family dynamic that was supposed to be funny was like, that is so cruel that what's going
Yes.
on. And
Yes.
I could see the turmoil and the chaos. It's like, so now when watching it, I have to watch from that perspective of just being an observer and kind of looking at the dynamics of things. Another one is some of these shows, correct? Because my kids even said to me, why do you watch that show? Uh, my mind goes blank. Where they marry at the altar and they haven't met each other.
Yes. Yes. I've seen that. Yeah.
They meet at the altar.
Yes.
And
Mhm.
the experts have matched them because they're so
Yes.
wanting to find their special person, that
Mhm.
one that they can, share their lives with. And so the experts are there and they've been perfectly matched. Ha ha ha. And the percentage of them that actually last, it's like 5 couples per show.
Mhm.
By the time they get to decision day, they don't want to be married to each other. I mean, they want a
Yeah.
divorce. And I'm like, in my head going, what? Blow my brain here. And then if there's one that do stay, the percentage of them even going on is nil. So it's like, okay,
Mhm.
guys, this doesn't work. Okay. This is
Right.
but it is interesting to see the dynamics of people and how they communicate with each other
Mhm.
and how they solve problems and all of that. So there's
You
kind of a
know,
good or bad in it. So my point in bringing this together is like the purpose of being awake is to find the balance. So
yes.
because in the higher realms, because they always talk about, we're going to go to the 4th dimension, 5th dimension, 6th, whatever. It is more, it's not black or white. It's not good or bad. It just is. But where's the balance? Where is the balance? How does that balance in you? Because you find that balance in you, and then it changes, it grows and changes as you grow and change. But it's no more looking at it as, and since we were talking politicals, like Democrat, Republican, and it's like, I just want to say that there's good and bad in each one of those subsets there. And if you think this one just, is doing some pretty terrible things, so I got to tell you that, there's another one over here that's doing the same thing. We just haven't found out about it yet. They're all doing it, and they all have crap on each other. Okay.
Yes.
So the balance that's the balance in the middle. And just to say from my perspective on this, there are things about the orange man that I just don't like.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's yes. However,
Mm-hmm.
he ripped the Band-Aid off of stuff and
That's
showed,
right.
look at how these men can be, or even people that can say things that are damaging. You
Mm-hmm.
know, you don't say stuff like that on purpose. It's more than rude, more than rude.
Mm-hmm.
But yet he did in a lot of ways assist in giving us the power back of discernment and the power back of choosing, of choice, of being, of get involved. And if you don't like it, you do have a voice. I mean, those are things
Right.
that he brought up that, you know, we woke a lot of people up. Let's just say that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
In a
That's
very
right.
rude way. Yes. So, but there again, there's good and bad in both sides. So you got to make that choice. So I encourage people not to vote like one way or the other, because this is my club. This is my club. So I got to vote with the club. No, vote with your heart. Who do you think,
Yes.
you know, is going to be the best for our country? That's who you vote for.
Right.
And that's the middle ground. That's your middle ground of
Mm-hmm.
that way. There's going to be that anyway. It's all going to be that way. So discernment is finding the balance,
Yes.
within you. So
Yes. And you know, it's important that you know, looking back, look at the many, many thousands of years, I mean, hundreds of thousands, millions probably, that we have been in existence and we have been asleep. And if there was somebody that had come in that was calm and, you know, sort of complacent and all of this, we would still be asleep. So it took somebody to come in that people didn't like, but even though they don't like some of the stuff, they that focus was on there. He shook. He shook the whole world.
mhm,
And it's like, I'm shaking you awake. And if you choose to stay awake, great. If you choose to go back to sleep, that's your choice.
mhm,
But it took somebody with his personality
mhm,
to even start this process. Spirit
mhm,
was very wise. You
mhm,
know, that contract has definitely been done. Um,
mhm,
and you know, whether it doesn't make any difference who you like or dislike, look, put yourself in their position.
mhm,
And we do that all the time. Okay, well, knowing what I know and what I'm allowed to know, how would I have responded here? How would I have responded there? And I also want to go back and comment. You know, you made a comment when we first started about grooming.
mhm.
Um, it's interesting about how those old television shows groomed us, isn't it? Because I can watch Roseanne and I can see my family. I mean, it just
Mhm,
it was just so. And now the one I watch is Sheldon, young Sheldon. You
mhm,
know, and it's just like, that's so normal. But then now also, I I have a hard time watching a lot of TV
mhm,
because knowing what I know, my first thought goes to, were they a part of Epstein? Have they been to Epstein Island? Are
mhm,
they a part of the child trafficking? You
mhm,
know, are they, are they?
mhm,
And I don't want to watch.
mhm,
And so it's definitely ruined TV
mhm,
TV watching for me.
mhm,
But in some aspects, I guess the best thing though, the most important piece of advice would be question everything.
mhm,
Question everything, question everybody, question what they say. How do you feel about it?
Mm-hmm.
And there's your discernment, and there's your balance.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what we do is not, everybody's not going to like it. You know, we hope it would be great.
Yeah.
But then, you know, it took me a while to figure out, okay, like Esther Hicks, she always channels Abraham. Well, you know, why don't she go up? Why don't she channel somebody else? You know, da 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 da.
Mm-hmm.
And I figured that that's like a classroom. That's like a stepping stone.
Mm-hmm.
Abraham helped me when I got to that grade, that vibration. I listened. It helped me to grow
Mm-hmm.
and grow on to the next.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, wow, now I understand why, you know, she continues with Abraham. It's because she is like a classroom, and you step up and up and up in order to grow.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I know I'm rambling, but I'm just
No, I don't. I think so. I think you're bringing out some really great points because I have a lot of respect for her for
yes,
because I mean, her classes, when she holds like, and this is why I like to emulate after her, is she, when she has a group, it's not that expensive, you know.
yes,
Of course,
yes,
you know, you have to factor in again, if you're going to be going, you know, if I'm going to Indiana or something and I've got
yes,
airfare, I've got hotel lodging, I have food, then of course it gets a little spendy. But it's nice that she
right,
goes all over the United States, so I can pick
yes,
something if I wanted to. And the teaching is unique each time for that particular group of people, which is great. There's
yes,
people that have an opportunity to come forward, but you always learn from listening with everybody else. You get that it's
yes,
amazing. Here's the best part is she has tons, and she allows this to happen. There's tons of YouTube videos where there's
yes,
excerpts of her classes, and you could just spend the entire day on YouTube and you still would
yes,
not have watched all of them. So you don't have to expend any kind of money to get started, you know, and she's
right.
very interesting to listen to, and there's always something of value to learn and to pick up on your process. So I was going to offer one small tidbit to people, help them through all of this, you know, how to start, you know, how do I start this? And here's something I want to share that for some might be very easy, for others it might be a challenge, and that's okay. But to master this is truly your ticket to begin the rest of it, wherever it takes you. And that is the art of listening, because we don't do that in our everyday lives. We don't listen. And I don't mean, you know, you can hear stuff. I hear you talking, you know, but my mind's over here. It's actually listening, to focus. This will also help you if you get interested in meditation, because a lot of times people say, I can't focus, my mind just goes all over. But if you focus on somebody and listen to them, listen to what they're saying. Don't judge it, just listen to their words, watch their face, their body language, and then just ask questions. You know, it could be simple. Tell me more, you know, how did that, you know, how did that make you feel? Or what did you think? Or when you heard that, you know, what went through your mind? Because there's teaching within that, because you're learning as well, but you're beginning the incredible task of listen, not a task. It becomes, it's amazing, because when you're listening, you begin to reinforce not only your physical listening in your ears, but also your spiritual ears as well. So you begin to hear on another level when you begin this process. And some might go very quickly through it. Some might be challenged, because there's some people that, I mean, I know I had an issue with it because I Give me the soapbox and, rein me in. But I've learned to listen. And that helps you in the observation process. It's a simple thing, but it is really, really important for your partner, for, relationships in your business, co-workers, you name it. Anytime you come in contact with somebody, you can just focus your attention and listen to them, because then you're becoming more authentic as well too. Because you'll see sometimes people, it's like we listen with the intent of speaking, of responding. And I know sometimes I'll have a thought, like you'll be talking, I'll have a thought, and it's like, okay, and I take that thought and I set it over here because I don't want it to interfere with what I'm doing with you, but that's important, and I want to remember that, so that when you're completed, I can go back. And I know you do the same thing, because you said, even when you said to me, you said something earlier, like, what did I say? Don't scare me like that. Because a lot of times I forget. Yeah. So that's my tip for today. That's my tip is to start just listening. Focus with your whole intention, listening. Shut everything out and just focus on that person. All that it just brings tears to my eyes, because relationships could just improve, get healthy.
One exercise that I have done is I would have with another person, and I would listen, and then I would ask them, okay, this is what I'm hearing you say. I do this with Pat a lot. This is what I'm hearing you say. Am I right? And then I say what I think that I hear them, how they really mean it. And then we have a conversation. Either yes, that's what I'm saying, or no, I really mean this, which also helps in communicating with exactly what you mean with each other. And it's a wonderful way to start that listening process, because you're going to feed back what they told you, instead of you're sitting there and your mind's trying to figure out a response. Okay, this is what I want to say, this is what I want to say, and then you lose the other person's conversation.
Right. Yeah. You're right. And it's kind of disrespectful in a lot of ways too. And people feel that, it's like, you're not hearing me, you're not understanding me,
Right.
You hear that a lot. I mean, people, to be heard, to be, respected. I mean, that's what we all want.
Right.
And that kind of goes into the catfish piece too, because we want people just to hear what I'm saying, understand what I'm saying. And it's not even, you have to agree with me, just understand what I'm saying and recognize that. And then I feel the respect, kind of thing. Yeah. And then you build from there. You can build from there. Oh, I love it. Yeah.
Yes.
So those are two things, those are great, two things. And you use the take personal responsibility when you use the word I. So if you catch yourself using the word you, stop it. You can stop it and just say, okay, wait, back up. I take that back. You. I. So in the learning process, you can delete, cut and paste. So
yes.
That, in the learning process, you can do that, and you negate it. You take it back. Take it back. Yeah. Oh, I got a million things I could say, but those two things are great to start out with: listening and taking responsibility in it. Yeah. And in that too, just one more caveat with that. I don't want to add too much, but when you're repeating it, if you use their words. So when you said that you were frustrated, what did you mean by that? Because if I say, when you said you were delirious, or you couldn't remember what the hell you were talking about, what did you mean by that? And then of course now we've got this, I didn't say that.
Right. Right.
So try to use their words. Try to use their words back, because those words, like you said, they mean something to them. Everybody's
Yes.
idea of love is different.
Mhm.
I like my middle daughter. She's got this thing. I have to quiz her more on it, but she knows people by what does she call it? Their love language. That's what she calls it.
Yes.
So she goes, yeah, he's got the love language of this, and this, of giving gifts, and that's not me,
Mhm.
and but she understands that, and so it's
Mhm.
not like it doesn't trigger her. She just understands that that's the thing. That's how he expresses his love, is by doing that. Isn't that
Yes.
fascinating? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know which category you would put this in, but I learned my husband's love language. So if he mows the grass, he mows the grass, cuts the bushes, whatever. And he comes in and I'll say something to him like, the yard looks so beautiful, or I love
Mhm.
the smell of cut grass when you mow the lawn. I mean, this is true. These are true statements,
Yeah.
but it is validating his desire to create beauty around me. That is his love language to me.
Mhm.
And so by me recognizing that, I have exchanged that love energy with him.
Yes. I remember a long time ago reading a book called Sex Begins in the Kitchen. But but that's on the order of what you were saying.
Yeah.
Little things.
Mhm.
If they help you, if they wash the dishes, or if they do something without being asked, it's like, wow, they really do care. You
Mhm.
know, it makes a huge difference.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Appreciation. Yeah. Mhm.
Yes.
It
Yes.
certainly does.
We
Yeah.
all like to be appreciated.
Absolutely. Yes. So,
Yes.
so yeah. Instead of catfishing your husband or catfishing your kids into do something, or catfishing your best friend. Yeah. I mean, it's from now on, it's going to be catfishing.
Then appreciate them.
Yes. Yeah. And let them know.
Yes.
Let them know. Yeah. All right. So, do you have anything to add with all of that at all?
I don't think so. I
Okay, so
think,
I'm just going to go over again 2 things to help with
mhm.
your beginning awakening in fact, no matter where you're at, if you're a beginner, you're advanced, whatever, sometimes going back and through the ranks helps you to learn something new.
That's
2
right.
things today that stand out, and one was learn to listen, to focus on the whole entire person, to really listen to them, to feed back that information using the words that they use, so that they fully know that you were listening to them. And the second thing was what? What's the second thing? Well, it's really the first thing, but what was it? Now I forget.
And we talked about discernment.
Yes, definitely.
Definitely.
Yeah. Of catfishing,
Yes.
of being groomed. Yeah. Oh,
Mhm.
well, I guess I said just focus. Listening was a big thing. Um, listening.
Yes.
I'm just gonna start with listening,
Mhm.
and of course always asking questions. That was the discernment part too, asking questions. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Just
Always question everything.
yeah. So practice that, practice doing that, and then see how the relationships and the communication shift for you. Make a note of that. Share that with us. We want to know what your
Yes.
experience has been. You've heard our experiences. We want to know what your experiences are. And then, of course, like this podcast, because then we know at least we're helping somebody.
That's right.
Yeah, yeah. And so like it. And then of course, if you think somebody else could benefit from it, if you share it within your social media group, whether that's Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or whatever,
Mhm.
spreading it out, spreading that energy
Mhm.
out, because you never know who might need to hear it. There might be somebody out there
That's
that's
right.
being catfished right this moment that could hear this and go, ooh, 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 or groomed, or in a relationship with a business or employer or whatever, that needs to hear it and needs something. So we're giving you a hand up here. We're giving you a small hand up, but it's a beginning. Hand up. to kind of help you through this and keep your eyes open for this crap. Right. Sounds good.
Right.
And subscribe, of course, because you don't want to miss a single time we come on to.
You never know what you're going to get.
This is true. But it always be something good. And hell, we
It will.
are enjoying it. Sound good?
Sound good.
Okay. And one other thing here. And if you have anything that you'd like us to talk about, that would be great too. Because this way we're not like going, what are we going to talk about?
Right. Or a topic that you want us to cover.
Yes.
Or,
yeah.
you know, maybe have a question of how do you do this or how, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yes,
Yeah,
definitely.
you can ask us questions. If you're
Yeah.
unsure about asking questions with other people, you can ask us questions.
Right.
We'll show you how to ask the question to get the answer you want.
That's right.
All right. Enjoy your day. Enjoy your day, Phyllis. It's always great seeing you again.
Thank you.
All
You
right.
too, Donna.
Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye-bye, everyone.